Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Evaluation Race 3 for TTML. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Car Mentalist. I'll be taking you through proceedings today. Joining me in the comms box today is a first-time commentator, so be kind to him, everyone. It's TTG Conti. Conti, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you. How are you, mate?
Yeah, doing really well, thank you. Obviously, coming into the first, the first evaluation race of the season for Lobby 3, and it's around Italy. And there's a number of people in this lobby that we've obviously seen race before in previous seasons of TTL. What are you looking forward to in today's race?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a couple of guys I don't know. A couple of guys I've raced against
Mm.
last year. So yeah, all cards are open. Don't know. Just hope. I'm hoping for a good race, some fair racing, and some nice uptakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're obviously racing at Italy today, as you will see from the stream title, which promotes very good racing. A lot of maybe DRS trains can form, and we're definitely never really short of action at a race at Italy. We can say that for a fact. Just before we get underway, I'm just gonna take you through quickly what the lobby settings are for today. So for today, the qualifying distance is a short qualifying session, so it's 18 minutes followed by a 50% race distance, as per the season will be. Damage is off for today's race, as is the safety car, and weather is going to be clear throughout, so we're not going to be seeing any weather intervention. It's just so we can get a true reading of everyone's true pace coming into the season before we obviously start next week. So that's going to be this. That's going to be the lobby assists and settings for today. Just going into this lobby though, I'm gonna before the lobby even starts, I'm already gonna ask you for this. So, who on the list of drivers at the moment stands out for you?
Oh, yeah. You got Captain Chubbs. He's obviously fast.
Mm.
TTG Mashiro, as he's a two-time TTL F1 League 2 champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really curious about Vigmil. I've only seen him in F2 cars, so really curious how he will do in the F1 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And based on Vic Mill's pace in the Formula 2 cars, he definitely is a threat for a good result today. He finished second in the standings last season after a much improved season last season in TTL F2. And like you say, Mashiro is obviously a two-time League 2 champion, so he definitely stands out. Other people in the lobby that stand out to me, I've commentated and raced against the likes of XL Gary before. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with. I'd probably say the same for Caesar as well, who's joined the lobby further down in the Haas car. He's definitely a fast driver to look out for as well. So we've got a number of people that could definitely take the win today. But yeah, we're about ready to get going. I think we're only got 17 drivers for the evaluation race, but that's fine. It's evaluation; it's not the full season as of yet, so don't expect everyone to be here for the first race of the season. But it looks like everyone's readying up, so we're just about ready to go. Going into qualifying though, probably say that a qualifying time around here would probably be in the 19s. Do you reckon?
Yeah, it could be. To be honest, I didn't see the League One guy. Do you know what times did they do?
That is a good question. That is definitely a good question. I could double check that actually. Wait for the qualifying to get underway. While I do that, let's have a look. So, pole position for qualifying, I believe. Well, people are actually, I believe, in the 18s by the looks of things. Yeah, people were in the low 18s. Calspell was in the low 18s early in the session, so an 18 is definitely possible around here.
Yeah, well, at 19, 19 should come up here then. Maybe low 19 for the top guys, but a
Mm,
19 should be okay.
yeah. And coming into this race, if you were racing, what kind of strategy would you take into this one? Do you think starting on the softs is the better option, or would you prefer to start on the medium set of tyres?
Yeah, it depends. If I started further up the grip, I would definitely want to start on the soft tires. They will go off pretty fast, but
Mm.
just to get away, just to get out of DRS range, because yeah, it is a DRS track, and we will probably see a lot of trains going here.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely is the case around this track. Like you say, that DRS trains can form. We've got 2 DRS zones on this track, down into turn 1 on the pit straight and down into Ascari at the end of the second sector. They're the DRS straights, but even without DRS there are plenty of straights for overtaking to happen down into the second chicane as well and into the parabolica, so plenty of overtaking opportunities and slipstream opportunities around the track. But here we go into qualifying. So qualifying has started with a great round of applause from the crowd on my end. Which is brilliant. So let's wait and see then who's going to be first out on track. We've got the fitted tyres up on the board, so we'll get to see what tyres everyone decides to go for when they go out on track. I imagine we'll see probably a couple of people go for all the medium tyres. We might see a few people as well try slipstream tactics in qualifying as well.
Yeah, Mashiro put on his medium tyres.
Yeah, and it looks like one of the Alpha Tauris is going to be the first out onto the track. Or actually, an Alfa Romeo might have just beaten him out, I think. It is. It's CPI Casper then who's going to be first out onto the track, and he's out on a set of soft, so he's already committed to the soft tyre for the race. He comes out onto the track then, so he's the first one out. He's closely followed. He's closely followed by Jan, who's in the Alpha Tauri, and then F1 Dobby, who is in the Haas car behind him as well. One of the Renaults is out on the track as well. That's Sam T. They've all gone for the soft tyres, but we've got 4 people at the moment, which is Sean, Caesar, Mashiro, and Flores have all gone for the medium tyres, at least in the pit lane, before the qualifying session starts. So, from those guys, do you reckon any of those guys could maybe get in the top 10 on a set of mediums?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, it's a bit slower than the soft tire, but if you manage to get really good exits, you could end up in the top 10, and yeah, you can go on long on the medium. So
yeah, and definitely a good thing about this track as well coming into this is that apart from the traction zones, there's not really a whole lot of areas on this track where you're going to struggle on the mediums compared to the soft tyres. So the delta between the two tyres around this track isn't that massive. And definitely soft tyres at the end of the race can give you an advantage. And especially with safety car being off, you might need that advantage at the end of the race. If you're maybe stuck in a little bit of traffic, then it's maybe a good thing to have that. But we're going to go on board with Jan. He's going to be the first person to cross the line in the Alpha Tauri. So let's see what lap time he can do. As he comes up into turn 1, let's see what kind of straight line speed he has. He's reaching 214 miles an hour. 215 just before he hits the brake at the in between the 150 and 100 meter board. Locks up ever so slightly but gets away with it. Coming out of the exit of the first chicane, nice and easy on the traction, doesn't have any wheel spin by the looks of things. Coming through the Curva Grande, not really a corner anymore. But here he comes then into the end of the first sector, and the first sector time for the Alpha Tauri man is a 26.4. Stays purple. Hasn't been beaten by the 2 cars behind him. I actually think the Haas behind him on the track, which is Dobby, might have just beaten that first sector time. Coming into the Lesmo corners then, keeps it in 5th. No understeer by the looks of things. Looks like he's got a very well balanced car as he comes through the second Lesmo, keeps it in 5th through there as well. Coming down onto the back straight just before Ascari chicane then. Here he comes then under the old track just before the end of the second sector. It's a 53 flat at the end of the second sector. Looks like Dobby as well further in behind. Might be getting actually a little bit of a tow from the Alfa Romeo in front of him, which is Casper. Here comes Adolf Ascari. Nice and neat from Jan so far this lap. He's not pushed the limits too much, but it's been a very neat and tidy lap. A good banker lap as he comes into the Parabolica then. A little bit wide of the apex, but you should get away with that. Coming then onto the exit of the corner, runs a little bit onto the painted concrete on the outside, but he comes up to cross the line, and it's a 19.6, the first lap in qualifying. Let's see if the guys in behind can beat that, and an 18.9 already from Dobby. Wow,
that is fast.
It's very fast from the Haas man. He looks like he might have, like I said, he might have actually got a slipstream from Casper, but yeah, already, and actually Gary beats that now. So Gary does an 18.8. He goes just over half a tenth quicker in the racing point, but already 2 people in the 1 minute 18s.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to be in the 18s already, but yeah, some great laps. I was on board with Kaspar. He didn't have a really great first lap, but there's much time to improve for him, and he will probably do.
As just as you say that as well, X-Sway goes on to pole position with an 18.6, an even better lap from the McLaren man. That's a brilliant lap time. So he's 2 tenths clear at the top of the field then ahead of Gary, and then it's Dobby in 3rd ahead of Adam Acco, who's in P4 at the moment in the Alfa Romeo. Sam T's in 5th ahead of Jan 6th. Jono in the other Alpha Tauri's just gone 7th ahead of Casper, Lighty and Sean so far. Sean the only person that's done a time on the mediums, and it's only a 20.9 at the moment. So not that competitive from the Ferrari man, so waiting for some other people to do medium runs. I think Caesar's just started a medium run in the Haas car. And it looks like Mashiro's on a lap as well, but he's actually backed off by the looks of things, so he's made a mistake somewhere on his run. And oh my word, he was nearly run clean into the back of. Renault cars. Didn't quite catch who that was. I think that might have been Sam T that nearly ran straight into the back of him there.
Yeah, Flores did a lap on the mediums.
Only a 30
Made
flat.
a mistake somewhere, yeah, 30 flat.
And a 50.3 for Mashira, so he's going for another run. Jan's also gone for a second run on the same set of tyres, and he's actually improved on his time. So he did a 19.2 in the end and has jumped up to 4th. So that's a good lap on the second run, but already at a disadvantage to people around him with 1 lap older tyres in qualifying that could really affect him in the race strategy.
Yeah, he has to improve on his second run with fresh tyres, or he's gotta be pitting really early.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Caesar's invalidated his lap time on the medium tyres, so let's see if he goes for another run or whether he decides to come straight into the pit lane. But at the moment, people on the medium seemingly struggling to get a lap together. It's not quite working out for him at the moment, and Caesar goes for another lap by the looks of things. Yeah, he started another one. It's a 21.7 that lap time. He must have backed off some point in the lap as well. Looking at the other people around him on the track, Sean crosses the line. He only does a 32.9, so he doesn't improve. Flores is improving, though, in the Williams car. Let's see what he can do coming out of the Parabolica. You can see from the throttle input, he didn't put the till very late on in the corner, so he's obviously struggling a little bit for traction, and it's only a 21 flat for the Williams driver.
Yeah, so probably softs are the way to go in qualifying. Although the track is pretty green right now, so maybe they will improve later on, but I expect everybody to go on softs after this one.
Yeah, I imagine so. Mashiro again struggling with another lap time of 23.1, so he's going again for a third lap on the medium tyres. Clearly not quite confident enough on those tyres to get a good lap in. So, like you say, the softs is definitely probably the better choice. Vic Mill, meanwhile, has just started his first run on the softs. He's running a little bit out of kilter with everyone else. He is close behind the car in front of him. That's one of the Haas cars. That might be Caesar directly in front of him. It's not actually. It's Dobby right in front of him on an outlap, so I wonder if he might get a slipstream off of him. 52.8 at the end of the second sector. That's a relatively good time so far. This will probably pop him close to the top 5. Not quite challenging the guys at the front of the field, I don't think, but still a very decent lap time. He's got a bit of a slipstream as well down to the Parabolica. He's going to get a little bit of dirty air through the Parabolica, though. And the Haasman in front comes out onto the straight. Doesn't look like it actually bothered him too much in the end. So here comes Vic Mill to the end of the lap. It's only a 19.6 in the end, so he only goes P7 with that. Looking further down the field, just went on board with LR Cyrix. He went off the road on the exit of the first chicane on his first go on the soft tyres, so that's immediately his first lap ruined. Captain Chubbs is on a lap by the looks of things in the Mercedes. He doesn't look as confident or as fast at the moment as Vic Mill, I don't think. Here he comes though into the end of the Parabolica. He'll be the next man to cross the line and set a lap time. It looks like Caesar as well has gone for another lap on the medium tyres. He must have invalidated another run. Here comes Chubbs to the line. And Chubbs is an 18.5. Wow, a brilliant lap. Mint completely got that completely wrong. It's a brilliant lap in the end for the Mercedes man. And he takes pole position away from Sway.
Yeah, great lap. Didn't see the lap, but great time already. And, well, there's time for 1, maybe 2 runs. So
if he's able to get... Yeah, if he can get back into the pit lane at the end of this lap, he should be able to get 2 runs in. Just caught Gary invalidating on the exit of the second Lesmo. He was only slightly up in the first sector, though. It wouldn't have gained him a place at that point in the lap. Dobby's also invalidated his soft tyre run, so he's come straight back into the pit lane. Let's see if Adam can improve. He's slightly down in the first sector. Got a yellow flag in sector 2 somewhere. I think that's just one of the Mercedes cars backing off by the looks of things.
It's Mashiro. He invalidated his lap. I think he's going back into the pits now. So.
But Mashiro in the end able to do a 19.6 on a set of mediums. A good lap time considering that's on his 3rd lap on the tyres. Adam Acco apparently sets a purple middle sector. He's improved by about 1/10.5. So good middle sector from the Alfa Romeo man. It's not really going to challenge the guys at front, but can he get ahead of Jan and take P5? He comes then into the Parabolica. Comes up to the exit of the corner then. Very early on the power compared to some other people. Keeps it right to the inside of the track coming up to the line, and it's a 1:19.3. He improves on his time but doesn't take P5 away, stays in P6 for the time being.
Yeah, Sway just went out on his out lap, so let's see if he can improve on his hot lap. A lot of people on the track, it's pretty busy.
It is definitely a very busy track. A lot of people coming into the last sector. Sam T's invalidated another run, so he's stuck in P7 at the moment. He's not going to improve on this lap. See if Jan's improving on his time. He's a 10th and a half up at the end of the second sector. So he's improving on his time. He's got to find about another 10th and a half to get close to Dobby. But look, very committed through Ascari and didn't invalidate there. So he's just got the Parabolica to go. Here comes up then to the end of the lap. Got Sway in the background weaving just before the start of his second run in qualifying. But here comes Jan round the last corner. Cuts right to the inside of the track before the line. And it is a 1 minute 19 flat. So again, same as Adam, he improves on his time but can't improve on his position. Stays P5 for the time being.
Yeah, I just was on board with Jono. He improved 7/10 and jumped up to P7. So good luck on his side.
Yeah, good improvements from both AlphaTauri cars. We'll go on board with Sway as he starts his next run in the session. Keeps it in third gear on the exit of the first chicane. Obviously worried that he's going to spin the tyres coming out of the corner, so keeps it in a higher gear to nail the traction. Comes to the end of the first sector, and he's slightly down on his personal best first sector. A lot of apex taken on the inside, gets away with it though. Comes through the Lesmos. Shifts down into fourth ever so slightly to try and get the car turned in a bit more. Same with the second Lesmo as well before short shifting back up into fifth gear. But look very committed though through the two Lesmo corners. I'll be surprised if this isn't an improvement at this point. We've had someone else just jump up the field, and I think that might have been Focky that's jumped up the field. Sway at the end of the second sector. Coming through Ascari now. Down one of the back straights and just before the Parabolica. Let's see if he can improve on his time. Whether he's able to challenge Captain Chubbs, who's still in the pit lane at the moment. He's not going for another run just yet. Comes out of the Parabolica a little bit wide of the apex, but gets on the power early. Cuts back to the inside of the track for the shortest one to the line. And he does improve on his time, but not enough to pass the Mercedes man. He stays in P2 for the time being.
Yeah, nice lap slide improvement. He has time for another one. I'm on board with Gary now, XL Gary. Let's see if he can improve from P3 maybe to P2 or P1.
Possibly, yeah. A little bit of a lock up into turn one, so it's a bit wide of the apex. He might get away with it though. Let's see what his time is at the end of the first sector. He's continuing on with the lap by the looks of things, so I don't imagine he's lost too much time. It's actually a 10th up, so even with the lock up in turn one, he's improved on his first sector time. So there's still a little bit more in that first sector for Gary to improve on. Comes into the Lesmos. He doesn't shift down into fourth. He keeps it in fifth gear, so he's happy with the turn in of the car. Goes into fourth though for the second Lesmo. Coming on to the back straight then just before Ascari. Let's see if he can improve in the middle sector. There's a lot of traffic coming into the second sector at the moment. As Gary crosses the second sector point, he's a little bit down on his personal best, and he actually invalidates on the inside of Ascari there.
Too bad.
Dobby in behind him. Dobby's on his third run, I believe, in qualifying already, so he's really going for 4 runs on these soft tyres. End of the second sector. He's a 10th and a bit up on his personal best, so this could put him ahead of Gary. But he also invalidates at Ascari. Takes too much curb on the third part of the chicane, and that's an invalidated time for Dobby.
Yeah, Ascari is a pretty difficult corner. On the looks of it, it seems really easy. But you have to go slow in, fast out. It's really important or you'll invalidate for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Vic Mill jumps up into P6 with a 19-1. That's a bit more of a competitive time for him. We've had Caesar and Mashiro both invalidate their first soft run, so they're likely to come back into the pits for their final run. Yet they're coming into the pit lane now. Got Sean on his first lap on the soft tyres. Let's see what he can do in the first sector. Currently running in 15th at the moment. And he's 2 tenths up on his personal best in the first sector. One of the Mercedes hops over the curbs in front of him on the road. Oh, a little bit in the gravel there for the Ferrari man, but gets away with it. I think that might have actually been Captain Chubbs that made a mistake there in the chicane. I think he jumped quite heavily over the second part of the chicane. Through then the Ascari corners. A little bit squirrely on traction for Sean in the traction zones we've seen him so far. But coming to the end of the second sector. And he's only 3 tenths up on his medium run, so this isn't really a competitive time at the moment for the Ferrari man. And he, yeah, another man to invalidate at Ascari. Meanwhile, a new man in the 1 minute 18s, and that's Sam T in the Renault. He jumps up to 3rd place. Sam
T, where did he come from? I mean, 3rd place, really good.
Yeah, jumped to third. I think he was bottom end of the top 10. He was running around with the likes of Jono and Lighty. But yeah, a brilliant improvement there from Sam T. It's got it's going to be nip and tuck as to whether he can get back out on the track for another run. He might just be able to do it in time. All depends on how quickly he can get back to the pit lane, though. Further in behind, I believe Casper's on a run. Actually, Casper's spun coming out of Ascari. Another person falling foul to Ascari. It's really catching people out in this qualifying session.
Yeah, it is. What I said, it's a pretty difficult corner, and you have to watch out for the on the exit, the curb on the left side, because it can really catch you out and ruin your race or qualifying.
Yeah, and it looks like Casper's actually really struggling with overheating tyres as well. He's spun a couple of times trying to get back up to speed, so obviously really struggling with rear tyre temperatures after that initial spin. But he's close enough to the pit lane to get back into the pit in time and put a new set of tyres on. Lighty's the first person out on the track, ready for the final run of qualifying. We've only got 2.5 minutes to go, and a lot of people coming out of the pit lane now, so we're going to have a lot of people on the track together at the end of the session. I wonder if anyone will be able to capitalise on a slipstream as Casper retires from the session, so he won't be improving on a 20 flat, unfortunately. We've only got one person as well that hasn't set a time yet, and that's Cyrix. That's Cyrix down in 17th at the moment. Both Williams struggling in this session.
Yeah, well, he still has time to set a lap. Let's hope he does.
Yeah, on board with Lighty now as he starts his final run in qualifying. He just beats Sway. He's got a little bit of clean air in front of him. As the Red Bull man, he beats the traffic out of the pit lane. Here he comes through the first corner, takes a lot of curb and short shifts up to 4th very early on the exit of the corner. Doesn't get any wheel spin because of it. Here he comes through Curva Grande, keeping it on the right hand side for the shortest run to the chicane. What's his first sector looking like? It's a 26 exactly. It's slightly down in his best first sector. The chicane in the first part of the chicane there. Comes into the Lesmos. He keeps it in 5th gear as well. He doesn't want to short shift down into 4th. So he now comes into the second part as well. Keeps it in 5th there as well. But runs wide on the exit, and that's an invalidated time for Lighty. And he looks like he's not going to be improving on 10th place in qualifying.
No, he doesn't. Too bad. Yeah, he just took too much curb. He invalidated. Almost lost his car as well. It can be really slippery if you...
Sorry to butt in there, but just on board with Gary. Gary touched the gravel on the exit of the second chicane on his final run, and he's spun as well. So another person ruining their final run. Gary's not going to be improving on P4.
Oh, Sam just cuts the chicane. Tries to get his lap in.
On board with Adamako. Look at the traffic now in the final sector as well. Everyone is so close together. People leaving it right to the last moment to get a lap in. Adamako's just started a lap now. See what he can do. Currently on a 19.3. He's got to gain at least 2 tenths on his personal best to improve on his position. And he's 9,000ths up in the first sector. So not really any improvement. And he's taken too much curb at the second chicane. So another person who's invalidated their final run.
Yeah, people are so eager to improve. They make little mistakes like this, and it happens.
Yeah, Sway meanwhile sets a personal best first sector, 700ths of a second up on his personal best, so that's already enough to put him ahead of Captain Chubbs, who's just started his final run. Let's see what the McLaren man can do. He's decided to keep it in 5th this time round, but understeers off the track, and Sway's invalidated his final run as well, so another person invalidating their final run. Sway's not going to challenge Captain Chubbs for pole. At the moment, there's not really anyone that's going to challenge him for pole at the moment.
Maybe Sam?
Caesar jumps up to P6. He takes P6 in the Haas car. Dobby's coming up to the line now. He'll be next across the line. He is improving on his time, but it won't be enough to challenge Captain Chubbs. I say that. Only half a tenth off in the end. A brilliant final sector from Dobby. Yeah, brilliant final sector from Dobby, and he jumps right up to 2nd place.
I'm on board with Chubbs now. Let's see what the second sector look like.
He's down on his time overall, but I think he had a pretty poor first sector, so he actually improved on his middle sector time. See what we can do coming up to the line. Leave Jono's just crossed the line. He's gone P6 ahead of Caesar. Jan's giving a little slipstream to Captain Chubbs down into the Parabolica. One of the Williams cars just crossed the line. That's Flores, I believe, and Flores only goes up to 15th in the end. Cyrix didn't get a lap in at all. Just had another person jump up the field. That's Vickmill up to P5, I believe. Captain Chubbs in the end doesn't improve on his time, but keeps pole position. Sam T's also retired from the session, so the only person that can take it is Focky, and Focky's actually just driven into the pit lane.
Yeah. So that's qualifying done.
That is qualifying done. In the end, it was a relatively tame end to the session. Not really anyone apart from Dobby could improve on their final times.
Yeah, it started with fireworks, really some great laps, and after that, everybody was just too eager, and they made little mistakes and couldn't improve.
Absolutely, but in the end, very close between the top 10. Only half a second covers the top 10 in the end. Very close, but Captain Chubbs it is then that takes pole position for the evaluation race here at Italy. I give it some time just before the leaderboard comes up, before the start of the race. Obviously, this gives the people outside the top 10 the advantage of starting on the medium tyres if they choose to do so. But here is the qualifying order then. The top three separated by less than a tenth of a second. So it's Captain Chubbs that takes pole, ahead of F1 Dobby in second and Sway in third. Sam T takes fourth, ahead of Vic Mill fifth. Gary sixth and the other Racing Point ahead of Jono in seventh. Caesar eighth. Jan ninth. And Mashiro rounds off the top 10. First person outside the top 10 is Adamako in 11th ahead of Lighty, Focky, Casper, Flores, Sean and Cyrix, who unfortunately didn't set a time in qualifying.
Yeah, he still didn't. Yeah, too bad for him. But top 13 within a second of each other.
Wow, incredibly close considering how long this track is in terms of length. It is an incredibly tight field.
It is. So let's hope it's a good sign for the race then.
Yeah, fingers crossed that everyone is just as close in the race. Obviously, the advantages of DRS in this race as well will keep the pack close. Have to wait and see as well.
And if you fall out of it, you're gonna have to use so much ride on Rich and use your ERS to get there. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, exactly. That is another thing to look out for in this race is how people manage their ERS. Obviously, new ERS system in this game. It is a lot easier to burn through your ERS in this game than it was on the previous one, so management is even more key, especially at a track like this, like you say. So we'll have to wait and see how people can cope with that. Yeah, we'll wait and see once we get going. It's about 30 seconds away from the formation lap. We'll wait and see what strategies people have gone for. But before we see that, just based on qualifying, who stood out to you in qualifying? Obviously, apart from Captain Chubbs, who stood out for you in qualifying as a surprise performance?
A surprise performance. Yeah, I think Sway did really good.
Yeah.
Two great runs. The second one was a 10 down on his time, but he had a great quality.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he'll be a little bit frustrated that he couldn't improve on his time. That was his first run in qualifying that he set his best time, so he's probably a bit frustrated that he couldn't improve on that. But still, P3 a very good result. Just having a look at strategies outside the top 10. So Adamako in 11th has decided to go for the soft tyres. He obviously has about 1 or maybe 2 lap wear advantage. Lighty and Focky in 12th and 13th have gone for the mediums. Casper in 14th has gone for the softs. And then Flores, Sean and Cyrix at the back of the field have gone for the medium tyres. So a real split of strategies at the back of the field.
Yeah, Casper really needs to get by Focky and Lighty because the tyres will get hotter and the tyre wear is higher. But overall, yeah, let's see. I mean, if you can manage your tyres well, you can go pretty long on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, it is key for Casper to get through the 2 medium runners in front. But the problem for him is Lighty's disqualified himself from the formation. Now, the problem for Lighty, well, the problem for Casper at the moment is that if Lighty and Focky have a relatively decent pace on the medium tyres and are able to keep with the guys in front, they can stay within that DRS train and have a massive advantage on the medium runners at the end of the race with a fresh set of soft tyres. So that all depends on how good their pace is at the start of this race. Same with Flores, Sean and Cyrix as well.
Yeah, if they can keep on that on the ERS train, what you say in the end on the soft tires with low fuel, they can be pretty fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Expect people 4 pit stops in this race. If people are trying to undercut people in front, I imagine we'll probably see pit stops around as early as maybe lap 9, lap 10 for the soft runners at the front of the field. Expect the medium runners to come in around lap 15 or 16. But yeah, that's probably when we're going to see pit stops happen in this race. But we're just getting ready for everyone to line up on the grid. A bit of a spaced out formation lap, so people at the front of the grid are going to be waiting quite a bit for the people at the back to join. So down before the start of the race, but we're almost ready to go for evaluation race number 3 here for TTML. Here we go, everyone lining into their grid spots at the back of the field, just waiting for Casper, Flores, Sean and Cyrix to line up at the back of the grid. But who's going to get the best start at the front row? Is it going to be the Mercedes? Is it going to be the Haas? It's a really long run down into turn 1 as well, so maybe looking for Sway and Sam to get good starts as well. But here we go. Ready for the lights to come on in front of the drivers. It's Captain Chubbs on pole, 5 lights ahead of them. Long hole, but the lights are out, and away they go. The top 2 get a very equal start in the end. Captain Chubbs is able to keep his lead. A bit of a, I don't know if there was contact there, but Sway gets a poor start, and Sway's fallen already down to the back, down through Sway. Great start from Vikmil up to second, round the outside of Dobby, but touches the gravel ever so slightly on the exit of the corner. There's a little bit of contact further back. Sway's missed the chicane. He's gone straight on. One of the Williams has had a mistake as well. That's Cyrix, I think, at the back of the field that's made a mistake, but Captain Chubbs out in front. Ooh, there was a bit of contact further back. That's one of the Mercedes, I believe. That's Mashiro that's off the... Someone else has gone off the road with him as well. There's 3 cars, actually. Sean and Focky. Wow, they've all gone off the road at Curva Grande then. A number of people coming into contact on the exit of the first chicane, but it's Captain Chubbs who leads. Vikmil from 5th on the grid up to 2nd. Great start from him. Dobby kind of caught out at the start. The other Racing Point of Gary's also made a good start. He's up to 4th place. Jan's up to 5th ahead of Sam, who's down to 6th after a second row start. Caesar's in 7th ahead of Jono, 8th. Adamako 9th, and Lighty's had a great start on the medium tyres. He's up to 10th place already. Casper's in behind him, and then Sway from 3rd on the grid down to 12th. What a poor start from the McLaren man. He's at the back of the queue at the moment. Cyrix is a little bit further off the back in 13th, but at the end of the first lap, Captain Chubbs leads by 1.5 seconds. Perfect start for the Mercedes man. He's gapped the field already.
Yeah, he's out of DRS already. I've got some kind of a glitch, WSP1 now on my end.
Yeah, the timing glitch in this game, I've had this a couple of times. It will probably sort itself out at the end of the first sector, but Captain Chubbs does still lead. Oh, Captain Chubbs, though, hits the grass on the exit of the first chicane. He's took a little bit too much speed there. That's going to allow Vikmil to catch back up again. Let's see how much time Vikmil could have taken out the Mercedes man at the end of the first sector. It was 1.4 seconds when they crossed the line at the end of the first sector. Let's see what it is. I'll have to wait and see until the timing sorts itself out, but I think it's 9 tenths. Oh! Captain Chubbs has spun on the exit of the second chicane. Too early on the power, and he's floored the throttle coming out of the corner, and he's spun the car. Race leader, after a great start, has dropped it and has gifted Vikmil the race lead. Grid.
Ooh, yeah, it's just wanted to go too fast, too bad, because he had quite a gap. Made a little mistake. Maybe he had some dirty tires. Yeah, too bad. Does he have damage? I don't believe he has.
I believe damage is off for this lobby, so he's got away with that. He didn't. Yeah, he didn't hit anything either. So I think even if it was on, I think he got away with it. But like you say, he made a mistake on the exit of the first chicane, was trying to make up for it at the second one, and he's just dropped the car. But now it's Vikmil that leads the race at the Racing Point. Dobby's back up to 2nd, and Gary's up to 3rd. Great stuff in the Racing Point cars. Vikmil sets the fastest lap of the race. Gary's looking pretty racy as well behind Dobby. He's got better race pace and qualifying pace at the moment. Dobby defends to the inside, but Gary looks to the outside. He's very late on the brakes. Is he trying to go all the way around the outside of the Haasman? 2 Racing Points trying to go around the outside of Dobby at turn 1. It happened on the first lap. Gary can't quite pull it off on the exit of the corner. Does he have the run, though, down into the second chicane? Gary's already halfway through his ERS in this race already, so he's used up quite a lot, and he's not close enough to Dobby to make a move into the second chicane. But Gary looking very racy at this point.
Yeah, I was just on board with Lighty. Lighty's just flying. He's up to P7 now on the medium tires. Had a great battle with Sam through the first chicane, side by side. He's doing good.
Yeah, he is. He is doing a very good job. Up to 7th place on the medium tyres. He's just outside DRS range to Caesar in front. So it's the top 6 now, starting to get away a little bit. Actually, it's the top 4 at the moment. Jono's a little bit detached in 5th, with Caesar following him close behind. Gary already with a 3-second time penalty on the 3rd. That's another thing to look out for in this game. That yeah, track limits are far more strict on this game than they were on the previous one. So Gary already falling foul of that and picking up a 3-second time penalty. Jan's in 4th place, running quietly at the moment. He wasn't as fast as people in front of him in qualifying, but he looks very good in race pace, and he's only half a second off the back of the Racing Point man, and he's avoided all the trouble on the first lap as well. Caesar sets the fastest lap of the race now as well in P6. So a number of the top 6 drivers looking very fast. Anyone down to P6 at the moment looks in with a shot at the win. Sam around the outside of Lighty into turn 1. Can he pull that one off? There's a little bit of contact. Sam's forced onto the curb. Here comes Adamako to pass the Renault man. Sway's trying to work his way back through the field as well. Adamako up to 8th, and he's challenging Lighty as well for 7th. Adam saved up some of his ERS. Lighty doesn't have anywhere near as much. And Adamako, is he going to get 2 in 1? He is. Adamako up to 7th place.
Yeah, great. He was just waiting for a mistake to happen and had an easy overtake on Sam and Lady in the end. So,
yeah,
good racecraft.
Yeah, great racecraft from Adamako. Sway down the inside of Sam, who also got caught out on the curb, but Sway doesn't go side by side through the second Lesmo. All gets a little bit squirrely on the exit at the corner as well. It's going to put him under pressure from Casper, but Casper's not using his overtake, so they're going to stay in 10th and 11th for the time being. But yeah, great racecraft there from Adamako, but can he now try and catch Caesar and maybe pull the guys in behind with him? Sam T now picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Jan falling off a little bit from the top 3 now. It's over a second, and Jono's starting to catch his AlphaTauri teammate and is dragging Caesar with him.
Yeah, and the same with Casper. Sway's dragging him with him. Sway is really putting the pressure on Sam.
Let's have a look, see if he gets the run out of the Parabolica. Sway's got way more ERS than people around him. Yeah. He's not using the overtake as well. He uses it now in 8th gear. He doesn't use it coming out of the corner. He uses it further down the straight. Lighty looking front. Doesn't go for the move. Stays in behind. Sam and Sway stay in the same positions as well. But look at the exit that Sway gets coming out of the first chicane. He's already on the overtake button. He's to the inside. Sam sees it coming, gives him room. Sway's already through. Great stuff from Sway.
Excel just passed Dobby.
Oh wow!
In a great fashion. Now going to Parabolica.
Wow, brilliant stuff from Gary then. So Gary up into second place. It's a Racing Point 1-2 at the moment. He's just within DRS range as well of his Racing Point teammate. So let's see if maybe Gary can challenge Vic Mill for the race win. Dobby though still there in 3rd. He's close enough. Jan's not too far back, but he is being caught now by the 2 behind him. And Adamako, after passing IT, hasn't caught Caesar or Jono in front. Top 6 starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Further, Sway's trying to get past Lighty, but he can't make the move stick at Ascari. Gets a little bit of opposite lock in the middle of the corner as well. Runs a bit wide. Captain Chubbs is now starting to catch this crew again after his spin early on. He's starting to get back into it, and he's only a second behind Casper.
Yeah, the top 3 is probably now hoping because everybody's catching Jen. They start fighting, and they can increase the gap. If they work together and don't crash or make a mistake, could be there a few seconds up the road in a couple of laps.
Yeah, absolutely, that is the case. If Jan is caught, Jono, I think actually, Jono's made a move on Caesar. Sorry, has made a move on Jono. I don't know if there was a mistake there from Jono because Caesar, I don't think, was that close to the back of him. It was about 6 or 7 tenths, but Caesar has worked his way past one AlphaTauri and is within DRS range of Jan already. Caesar's working his way forward very well in this race. Let's see where he can end up. He started in the lower end of the top 10. I think he started in about 8th or 9th place. But yeah, he's in between the 2 AlphaTauris now. But like you say, yeah, Jan is starting to become detached from the top guys. So if he starts battling with Caesar, that's even more time lost. We've got one of the Ferraris around. That's Sean that spun on the exit of the second chicane. A number of people falling foul to that chicane so far.
Yeah, the second chicane?
Yeah, second chicane on the exit of the corner. Just spun on traction by the looks of things. Gary's picked up another time penalty already. 6 laps into this race and 2 time penalties for Gary already at this point. It's going to drop him way down the field.
Yeah, it's going to bite you in the behinds and in the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've seen it before. You can finish P1 on track, but if you have 12-second time penalty, you're going to just drop down like a brick.
Yeah, and that is the problem as well with Monza, is that the pack, whilst there has been mistakes from people...
Sway and Lighty.
Sway down the inside. Oh, there's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the 2 of them. Lighty getting his elbows out, trying to fend the position off. And Sway gets caught on the curb on the exit of the corner, and Sam's going to work his way back past the McLaren man. Another problem there for Sway, trying to get the move done on Lighty, gets caught on the curb, and Sway's really struggling to get back up the field. Meanwhile, in behind, Chubbs has passed Casper, so Chubbs is up into 11th place.
Yeah, and he's catching these guys really fast. They're battling all out, trying to overtake each other. Sam now taking real good advantage of Sway, losing traction on the curbs.
Yeah.
So it's a 4-way battle now.
Yeah, ooh, Sam has a bit of a slide on the exit of the second Lesmo. Is Sway going to be close enough to get the position back, maybe? Looks like they're both using overtake down the straight. They've actually both turned it off. Sam's going to keep P9 for the time being, but all of this is helping Lighty and Adam in front start to pull away a little bit, and Captain Chubbs is catching these guys very quickly. This is great news for Lighty on the medium tyres, that he's just within DRS range, but actually if you look on board with Lighty, Lighty is already out of ERS. He's trying desperately hard to keep with Adam in front, and he's completely run out of ERS because of it.
Yeah, and probably Sam is going to close him massively now if he doesn't have any ERS left. So really he has to save some and probably just settle behind Sam or Sway to save some ERS.
Yeah, yellow flag in sector 2. That's Sean that spun again. Sean's come in and put the hard tyres on. Obviously had enough of his tyres, but he spun again on the exit of the second Lesmo. He's really not having the best time of it, and he's actually left the session. Unfortunately, that's a shame for Sean. Looking further up the field.
Something new this game. If your tyres get overheated by a spin or something else, it's really hard to get the temperatures right again, and you're just gonna suffer a lap long.
Yeah, absolutely is. Oh my word, as you say that, Jans dropped it on the exit of the second Lesmo, another one falling foul. Incredible to keep that going without coming to a full stop. He almost did a 360, did he? But he's dropped behind Caesar, Jono and Adam now. Is Lighty going to get past as well? Lighty does get... Jan drops from P4 all the way down to P8.
Yeah, and Lighty is flying. Even without his ERS, he really needs to save some, but he's doing a great job. And
yeah.
He can be in for a podium because he can go really long on these tires and just use the softs for 8-9 laps.
And a good thing for him.
Laps.
And a good thing for him now as well. The top three.
No.
Oh,
he just made a mistake.
Oh, commentator's curse. Like he makes a mistake. He keeps the car going, but that is a. He drops down to 11th. Meanwhile, battle between the two racing points for the race. Gary trying to go round the outside on the exit chicane. They're side by side. Dobby's only 2 tenths back as well. Caesar's catching this guy as well. Oh, a little bit of contact there between the two racing points. Vicmill into the side of Gary. Gary's got a nose ahead into the chicane. Vicmill still got the inside line though. Vicmill defending. Oh, Gary's going to go all the way around the outside. He misses the chicane though. Gary's surely going to have to get that place back. He passed Vicmill off track and he had to cut the chicane because of it. He definitely had enough room to keep it on the track, but Gary takes the lead but off the road.
Yeah, great. Really great overtake. I was on board with Dobby watching the battle, and Dobby just did the smart thing, waiting for a mistake, so he could probably overtake one, but didn't happen. Nice battle.
Yeah, but I was going to say, obviously, before Lighty had his little moment, is the top three battling's really going to help them, and it's actually helped Caesar and Jono massively. They're now within DRS range of the top three after this little battle, so Caesar's brought him and Jono right back into the action, and it's now a 5-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, it is, and if they keep that up, Adam Echo's probably gonna come back to them as well, with everybody he's carrying with him behind him.
And Gary's into the pit lane.
Yeah, he is. So he's going for the undercut.
Yeah, in the lead of the race, he comes in at the end of lap 9. He's followed by Adam Echo and Sway and Captain Chubbs as well. They've all come into the pit lane at the end of lap 9, trying to get out of the traffic and get some clean air. As he comes out of the pit lane, Gary's not held in the pit box for Adam. They all put the medium tyres on as they come out of the pit lane. Gary's going to come out in a whole bunch of free air. Actually, he might be behind Focky possibly. Focky's going to have the momentum into turn 1. Does Gary brake late enough for the corner? Focky trying to go round the outside. They're going to be side by side. Focky's going to have the inside line for the chicane. There's a little bit of contact. Gary just holds P10 ahead of Focky, but that would have cost him a little bit of time. But he just about gets away with it.
Yeah, and he has tons of free air in front of him. So he's probably gonna put in some great laps, and let's see if Vicmill and Dobby come in this lap then.
You have to wait and see. Obviously, Dobby and Caesar as well, second and third, both on Haskell, so one of these guys is going to have to stay out on the track this lap. I imagine we will probably be first to come in. John Owen behind these as well. He's got Jan just further behind him, so they're going to have to split their strategies as well. Wait and see who of the leaders is going to come in. Does Vicmill react to Gary coming in, or does he stay out for another lap? Vicmill is going to dive into the pit lane, and Dobby's going to follow him in. Oh, and Caesar's followed Dobby in as well.
No, oh, it's going to cost him so much time.
That is such a shame. Such a shame for Caesar. He's brought himself right into the battle for the podium. He's going to get held massively in the pit lane. Lucky there's no Alfa into the pits behind him. Otherwise, if any Alfa Romeo came into the pits, they would have been held behind Caesar's car. Yeah, Caesar already looked behind Jono. Let's see where he's going to come out. He's going to be behind Sam T. Who else is he behind? No one else in the pit lane is going to pass him by the looks of things, but Caesar way down the field behind Adam Echo and Sway. Behind Captain Chubbs even.
Wow, yeah, it's costed him so much time. I mean, you can do a double stack if you got a couple of seconds, 10, 15 seconds between you, but if you don't, it's just you're going to be held up. You're just running there stationary, doing nothing.
Yeah, that is such a shame for Caesar. Ends up behind Casper in the end, so he's dropped a number of positions. Captain Chubbs and Casper were running in 11th and 12th before the pit stops happened, so Caesar's dropped so many places. That's how close the field is. Meanwhile, further up the field, Sway's made his way past Adamako, so he's up into 9th place and only 2.5 seconds behind Jono. So Sway, don't count Sway out of a possible podium position just yet. He's not far off. Vic managed to get past Focky, but is out of DRS range of Gary. But remember, Gary already has 2 3-second time penalties, and I don't think Vic picked one up just yet. So Vic technically still in the net lead of this race. Meanwhile, out in front, Jan coming in from the soft tyres. So Lighty now takes the lead of the race.
Yeah, and you just see how much time Gary gained on Vic. I mean, he was up 4 or 5 tenths, and he's up over a second now. So good call from his side, spitting as the first guy.
Yeah, definitely a good call from Gary. Obviously, that's the disadvantage of penalties, so he needs to build a gap as well as possible, and the best way to do that is to drop Vic from his DRS. Meanwhile, Dobby has passed Focky for P5 on the road, but Dobby, being a little bit held up by the Renault man, has dropped him out of DRS range of Vic. So these guys are all starting to spread out a little bit. Jono's probably going to be very desperate to get past Focky as well to try and keep with the Haas man in front. But it's going to be a struggle for him because he's probably going to have to follow all the way through the Lesmos and maybe go move at Gary if Focky's not within DRS range of Dobby, though.
Yeah, he still is. Vic is getting some time as well. And Captain Chubbs is really on the behind of Sam at the moment, putting pressure on him.
Here comes Jono then on Focky. Jono using some overtake, but actually doesn't use a lot of it. And stays in behind the man for the time being, so he stays in 7th place. Like I say though, Captain Chubbs trying to pass Sam T, breezes past down the back straight and is up into the top 10 again. As Vic Mill's dropped it. Vic Mill's dropped the car on the exit of Ascari. He gets away with not hitting anything. I think it's only just a small moment, but it's dropped him behind Jono, and Sway is on the back of him now.
Wow. Yeah. And again in Ascari. Ascari is such a difficult corner. If you get it wrong there, it can really ruin your race.
Yeah, meanwhile, LR Cyrix has had a spin on the exit of Parabolica. He was running the alternate strategy. He's dropped it from 2nd place on the road. He's going to go right to the back of the field after that. But yeah, Vic now down into 6th place. He's back behind Focky. Jono, meanwhile, has passed Focky down into the first chicane. So he's up into 4th place and just within DRS range of Dobby. But Gary now has a 2-second gap over the next person on the track. We'll see whether Dobby can actually re-catch Gary and get back within DRS range. But this has brought Sway and Adamako into the running there within DRS range of Vic Mill, and Captain Chubbs still isn't too far back, even with his spin earlier on.
Yeah, no, he still is. If he drives a decent race and doesn't take too many risks, you can see him ending up on the podium. I mean, it's really close, and a lot of guys already spun in Ascari, made their mistakes, so everything's still open.
Yeah, got another yellow flag in Sector 2. I think that's Cyrix that spun again by the looks of things on the exit of the 2nd chicane. Sam T picks up a time penalty. I think that's his 2nd one of the race. And it looks like Dobby's got pretty good pace on these medium tyres. He's taken about half a second out of Gary on this lap so far. So he's starting to catch Gary and starting to drop Jono ever so slightly, who's actually derating coming out of the final corner.
He still is in... Yeah, he still has DRS.
Yeah,
but yeah, he has to hurry up. He doesn't have any ERS left, so he's probably gonna drop from Dobby.
Yeah, Vic Mill meanwhile makes his way past Focky back up into 5th place. Sway's just in behind as well. We're looking to pounce on the Renault man, but I don't think it's going to be close enough into the 2nd chicane. Focky actually coming back at Vic Mill into the 2nd chicane. Is he going to be close enough to make a move? He looks to the inside, but he's not quite close enough. Got a yellow flag in Sector 1. That's Casper, I think, that's had a moment on the exit of the first chicane. He's got going again without losing a place by the looks of things. He's got Mashira with him. But looking further up the field again. Yeah, Jono just outside of DRS range to Dobby. Actually, I think he just got it. Yeah, he just managed to get DRS. But he's not using it, so I wonder whether Jono maybe has a DRS problem.
Ooh, if that's the case, he's probably going to drop really fast.
Yeah, that is a real shame for Jono if he does have that problem. He's going to drop right into the clutches of Vic Mill. Sway had a look at the outside of Focky into Ascari, but nothing came of it. Is he going to go for a move at Parabolica? Caesar picks up a 3-second time penalty now. Let's have a look at Sway into the Parabolica. He's on the outside of the Renault man, but Focky stays ahead, and this is only going to compromise the pair of them through the corner, and Adamako isn't far behind these guys. Sway all the way around the outside, though, of the Parabolica. Great move from the McLaren man, and he makes his way through and gets DRS as well, but so does Focky. Is he going to come back at him? He's not got any ERS left. And here comes Adamako from miles back. He's going to send it down the inside of the Renault man. Can he get that one stopped? Brilliant move from Adamako. Very opportunistic again from him. Great racecraft, and he's made his way past Focky as well.
Yeah, really great overtake. He just slammed the brakes really late. He made the corner and was without contact. So great overtake.
Yeah, really good stuff from Adamako. He's definitely the king of capitalising on other people's mistakes. He's definitely done that quite a few times in this race. You see if he can keep up with Sway. But look, Sway has caught Vic Mill already. How quickly that McLaren man's caught Vic Mill in front. Starting to get a little bit stuck behind Jono. Jono's completely dropped away from Dobby now. So that is definitely him out of the running maybe for a top 2 position in this race. Unless he can keep within 6 seconds of Gary. Jono, though, under pressure from Vic Mill, but Vic Mill can't get past, and Sway and Adamako are just there to pounce as well. Dobby was catching Gary, but it's kind of running at the same pace at the moment. Meanwhile, Lighty's still out on those medium tyres. He's not coming to the pits yet. He's probably going to come out further down, closer to Caesar when he comes out of the pit lane, but he'll be on a fresh set of soft tyres and a whole queue for him to attack.
Yeah, what you said, Gary was really, Dobby was really catching Gary at a fast rate, but now they're leveled out, and
it's Vic Mill.
Let's see. Oh, Vic Mill.
Yeah, Vic Mill breezes past Jono in a straight line. Jono struggling with barely any ERS. Vic Mill breezes past him down the pit straight and back up into 4th place. Good recovery from Vic Mill after his mistake. But yeah, Jono's starting to fall a little bit like a stone. And Sway is right behind him as well. Sway not going to go for a move by the looks of things into the chicane. He's going to wait probably until the back straight. Captain Chubbs, meanwhile, has passed Focky. He's back up into 8th place. And is only a second behind him, Adamako. Sam T now on his teammate. He's down the inside. Focky is going to fight this one. They're side by side. Great racing. Oh, and Focky loses it on the curb. Another person at the second chicane. He gets away with not hitting anything and not losing too much time. But that's even more heartache for Focky, who's obviously on the alternate strategy. It's just not worked for him today.
Yeah, too bad. I mean, his start was okay. Just some bad luck. Some bad luck today. It's not his own racing. Yeah, sometimes it happens. You just have to bite through it and empty the cup of bitterness.
Yeah, absolutely. He has had some good racing, like you say, so far. Just unlucky with the contact on the first lap. Lighty, meanwhile, continues on in the lead. He stays out for another lap. Gary in second, ahead of Dobby in third. Vic Mill fourth. Jono fifth. Sway's on the back of him, but Jono's still within DRS range of Vic Mill. And I think Sway made a little bit of an error there at the Parabolica because Adamako's all over the back of him. Adamako, is he going to go for a move on the McLaren man into turn 1? We've already seen him brake very late. He turns his DRS off though, and he stays in behind the McLaren man. He doesn't want to pass him just yet, so he stays in 7th place. Captain Chubbs, though, catching these guys hand over fist in P8. Gets a little bit squirrely on the traction. And meanwhile, Focky has given up on those set of medium tyres, and he's into the pits with the set of softs. Be good to watch Focky's pace on the soft tyres, see what kind of lap times he can do. And that will give Lycee an indication of the same set of tyres.
Yeah, I hope he's gonna gain some positions, but yeah, he's 11 seconds, 12 seconds behind Casper, so just set him some, just for your own feeling, some good lap times, and that's that.
Another time penalty there for Sway. I think that might be his third maybe in this race, the McLaren man. A lot of problems for some of the fast people in the lobby, struggling with keeping the car on the road and getting time penalties. Speaking of fast people in the lobby, Dobby is within DRS range of Gary now, so these two have gapped Vic Mill quite consistently. Well, considering Vic Mill had a moment on the exit of Ascari, to be only 2 seconds behind Dobby is a great recovery, and he's completely dropped Jono at this point, but Dobby back within DRS range of Gary now.
Yeah, let's see. Lighty's in now.
Oh yeah, Lighty into the pits from the lead of the race. Let's see where he comes out. Leaves his pit box now. It's going to be at the back of the queue. He'll be behind Caesar by the looks of things. Actually closer maybe to Mishiro, but he's going to have a lot of clean air to try and catch up to the Haas man. Lighty leaves the pit lane now. He's going to be ahead of Mishiro and about 5 seconds behind Caesar. Yeah, he's got a good amount of clean air to catch back up to the queue in front of him. Only 5 seconds though, that's definitely doable for him to catch Caesar, and Caesar obviously not far off the back of the queue in front, and if they continue to fight, which they are, then don't be surprised to see Lighty on the back of this queue. We've got Sway slightly in the gravel, and Adamako's past Jono. Jono's been completely swamped at this point.
Yeah, let's see if Gary and Dobby are gonna fight, because that's really gonna play in the hands of Vigmil and everybody behind him. Dobby is really catching, but let's see if they're gonna work together or bet each other.
Yeah, I think the smart thing almost for Dobby at the moment is Adamako picks up a 3-second time penalty now. A smart thing for Dobby to do is just to follow Gary. We know Gary has 2 penalties. He might not know that himself, but I don't think Dobby has picked one up. And I think Vigmil has at least 1 time penalty in this race. So Dobby can honestly just stick behind Gary and not battle him too hard and win this race on penalties, but he might want to win it on track, and he looks like he does. Yeah. He's coming for the Racing Point man into turn 1. He's going to go all the way around the outside and breezes past on his way into turn 1. Dobby then takes the lead of the race ahead of Gary, but locks up quite heavily into the first corner, gets the car stopped, but hits the curb on the exit. Is Gary going to come back at him down into the second chicane? He doesn't turn his overtake button on, or he does now, a bit further on in the traction zone. He turns it on for a little bit, trying to get closer to Dobby, but isn't going to go for a move at the second chicane. New leader in the race. Haas overtakes the Racing Point, and Dobby's into the race lead.
Yeah, on the meanwhile, I'm watching Sam and Jen. They're really battling hard. Sam overtook Jen.
Yeah, Sam through then up into P8, Jan down into P9. Caesar's on the back of these guys as well. Captain Chubbs, what a great recovery from him after his spin early on. He's up to 7th place, and he's on the back of this queue, forming behind Sway at the moment. He's not going to be able to make a move on Jono, though. Jono's definitely close enough to Adamako to keep within the slipstream range, so 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th stay in the same order. But yeah, like I said, great comeback from Captain Chubbs after his early spin. Looking further down the field as well. Lighty, at the moment, doesn't seem to have the best pace at the moment on these soft tyres. He's not really catching Caesar in front. It's staying at around 5 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, maybe he's just used on braking early from the medium tyres. He did a lot of laps on them. He just has to get used to the grip, but don't do it for too long, or the grip will be gone.
Absolutely. He gains a little bit through the parabolica, gains about 0.4 of a second as Jan comes back at Sam T now into turn 1. Jan is going to retake 8th place into turn 1. A bit of a lock-up from the AlphaTauri man. Sam almost into the back of him. They just about get away with it. But these 3 battling is going to allow Lighty to catch even quicker. Caesar's on the back of this queue now as well. He's obviously looking to get past. Here comes Sam T back at Jan into the chicane. Oh, Sam forced onto the grass by the AlphaTauri man. Very Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel. There was almost a carbon copy of what happened between those two, but they get away with it, and Jan holds P8 for the time being.
Ooh, Excel, Gary almost lost it. He lost some time on Vigmil now, and he's he has some ERS. That's his luck and DRS, so he didn't fall out of it, but he almost lost it on LS4 too. Wow,
yeah. So he's dropped behind Vigmil, his teammate. Back down into 3rd. That gives Dobby then a 2-second buffer out front. And a good thing for Dobby now is he's actually caught TTG Sean. So could Dobby get DRS off the lapped Ferrari man? That would be great for him in this race. Meanwhile, Captain Chubbs passes Jono on his way down into the Parabolica. And he's up into 6th place. But Jono coming back at him maybe. But Captain Chubbs has more ERS and he's using it to pull away. Coming down into turn 1, Jono can't come back at him. Captain Chubbs up into 6th place, and while these guys are battling, they're being pulled along by Sway and Adamako, and they're both catching the Racing Point cars in front.
Yeah, he's flying. It was really, Gary now is out of DRS range because of his mistake, and maybe Sway can capitalize on that. And he's throwing Adamako, Chubbs, and Jono with him.
Yeah, so, that definitely is the case.
Yeah,
Gary's starting to struggle a little bit on these tyres. Yeah, 1.1 seconds to his teammate, so he's still out of DRS range. Dobby now picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's his first one of the race, I believe. So, race leader with a time penalty. Vigmil also with a time penalty as well. Gary in 3rd ahead of Sway. 4th, Adamako 5th. Captain Chubb 6th. Jono 7th. Bit of a gap back to Jan in 8th. He's ahead of Sam T and Caesar. Lighty's made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped to about 5.5 seconds back. He's really not got the pace at the moment on these soft tyres. And he can't catch the guys in front. He's actually being caught by Mashiro at the moment, who's had a bit of a lonely race at the moment. He obviously got caught up in the incident early on in the race, and he hasn't really recovered from it. Down in 12th at the moment.
Yeah, too bad for him, especially for being a two-time Division 2 champion in
Captain.
TTL. But
Yeah, Captain Chubbs, meanwhile, on the back of Adamako for P5, is going to look to the inside. Adamako moves. Captain Chubbs kind of go all the way around the outside, almost on the grass. Locks up because of it and doesn't get the move stuck. That was a bit of an ambitious move from Chubbs. He had all the space on the inside, decided to go for the outside line and doesn't get away with it. So he's going to drop a bit further back from the Alfa Romeo man. And he stays in P6 for the time being.
yeah, it was really close, and maybe he got caught out with the ghost of Sean. He tried to fake Adamako, which he did, but he just broke too late and he couldn't get to the overtake.
Yeah, can get the move pulled off. This is a great battle at the moment for P8. Sam T is back up to 8th ahead of Jan. Caesar's just sat in behind watching this, waiting for a mistake from these guys. Currently in 10th place, trying to recover after a poor pit stop. See if he can make a move down into Ascari. He's not going to be close enough. Jan's trying to go down the inside into Ascari. Captain Chubbs, meanwhile, picks up a 3-second time penalty. Jan's back through up into P8. So anything Sam can do, Jan can do. And Jan's back up into P8.
Yeah, and if they keep this up and just keep DRSing each other and not battle too hard, they can help each other. And Caesar, of course, who's behind them, to keep Lighty off their tail.
Yeah, Lighty though, down to 4 seconds on this lap. He's about 1.5 seconds a lap faster on the last lap. Fucking moving ever so slightly over. Here comes Caesar. Caesar's had enough of waiting around. He's trying to go around the outside of the pair of them into turn 1. Can he brake late enough? He does. There's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but 2 in 1 for Caesar. He's had enough of waiting, and he's up and into P8. Great move from Caesar.
Yeah, this is what he was waiting for. Sam and Jen battling all the time, and he just had enough of it and thought, you know what, let's open up DRS, ERS, and overtake these guys.
Yeah, Sam trying to come back though. Down the inside, really late on the brakes, actually kind of forces Caesar out the way. Caesar has to miss the chicane because of it and gets a 3-second time penalty. Caesar weavering as well, showing his displeasure. That was a very late move from Sam and a bit ambitious. And Caesar has to give the place up for an illegal overtake. So Caesar clearly not happy with that move, and that was very ambitious from Sam.
Yeah, it was. He just had to have some patience and stay behind.
And look at Jan. Jan coming back down the outside, completely ignored Jan, and he's back up into P8 again. And Caesar's got past Sam as well, so Jan makes his way past the pair of them as these two bump into each other. And Caesar falls to P9, Sam down to P10, Jan back up into P8. But look at Lighty's gap now, 2.6 seconds. Lighty is catching these guys so quickly.
Yeah, Sam and Caesar are going a bit archy-barchy, too much elbows out for my liking, blocking each other, weaving.
Meanwhile, Sway down the inside of Gary at turn 1. Gary's trying to come back at him on the exit of the chicane. He forces Sam onto the curb. Here comes Adamako once again, trying to capitalise on other people's mistakes. He's on the outside. Captain Chubbs, this is a four-way battle for 3rd place. Adamako trying to go all the way around the outside of the McLaren man. He does so. Can he keep the place? He's late on the brakes. Gary turns into the corner. They avoid each other. But again, Adamako capitalising on other people's mistakes. He's up to 4th and is all over the back of Gary for P3. Meanwhile, Captain Chubbs makes his way past Sway, who got poor traction on the exit of the chicane. Gets swallowed up by 2 drivers. Captain Chubbs. A bit of a moment there for Captain Chubbs. And Caesar looks like he's had another moment at the 2nd chicane. And now Lighty's up into P10. Here comes Adamako as well. Adamako breezes past Gary and he's up into 3rd place. Gary runs into... And he's a bit sideways in Ascari. Gets away with it, but he's going to get caught here massively by Sway and Captain Chubbs, who are going to breeze past. And Gary really starting to struggle now for grip. And Gary falls down into P6.
Yeah, it almost went wrong for him. Jono is not out of it as well. Just waiting for another mistake. But yeah, it was almost ending Gary's. Gary was almost ending his own race.
Yeah, he did well to hold on to it, but he falls down to 6th place from 3rd place on the road in 1 lap. Gary has a look back down the inside of Captain Chubbs at turn 1, but can't make the move stick. Caesar's retired from the session. He's had enough of this race, unfortunately. One thing to say, though, Jono, he obviously started dropping a little bit like a stone earlier on in this race, and we probably both thought that he was going to drop even further back into the clutches of his teammate, but he's actually done a very good job to regather himself and keep on the back of this queue in front, and all these guys fighting is giving them penalties, as Captain Chubbs and actually Jono himself picks one up. But these guys could all swap positions because of time penalties, and Jono's done a great job to keep onto the back of these guys. But Gary hitting the gravel, and it's at the second chicane. Is starting to fall back from Chubbs. And Jono, oh, as I say that, I've commentated curse Jono again. And Jono spins on the exit of the second Lesmo. Is he going to get passed by Jan? Meanwhile, Jan's completely dropped Sam T and is in 8th on his own at the moment. As Lighty's up to 9th.
Yeah, Lighty up to 9th. I don't know what happened there with Sam. But Lighty passed him and is now only 2 seconds away from Jan.
Yeah, only 2 seconds away from Jan, who's only 0.3 of a second behind his Alpha Tauri teammate now. So Lighty could be on for a P7 finish in this race. Only 3 laps to go in this race. Actually, make that 2. This race has absolutely flown by, but it's Dobby that still leads. He's been on his own for really the last 5 or 6 laps or so. We haven't really said anything about him. He's doing a great job, as is Vic Mill in second. Adamako stays in third, but Sway is trying to come back at him. Captain Chubbs is there as well, but not close enough to make a move into the first chicane. Great stuff from Adamako as he comes through the first chicane, followed by Sway, Captain Chubbs, Gary in 6th, Jan in 7th, ahead of Jono now in 8th. Sam T's coming back at Lighty into turn 1. Great straight line speed in that Renault, and he's through. He forces Lighty out wide. Lighty can't come back down the inside of the second part of the chicane, but Lighty has the grip on the exit of the corner, but not any ERS to really fight the Renault man as he comes through the Curva Grande up into the second chicane. Can he get the inside line? Sam can't move over on him. Lighty down the inside, very late on the brakes from the Red Bull man. He gets it stopped, and he leaves space for Sam. Lighty's back up into P9.
Yeah, and Sam another penalty.
And this is allowing Mashiro to start closing as well. Mashiro trying to get a top 10 out of this race. Having a look further up the field as well. So Jono trying to come back at Jan, the 2 Alpha Tauris. Looking further up as well. Adamako definitely looks the slower of the 3rd, 4th, 5th battle. They're starting to drop Gary a bit now, but I have to say, Adamako has been exceptional in this race. He may not be one of the fastest people in the field. He's probably not top 3 fastest, but has absolutely brilliant racecraft. Oh, I think Lighty's dropped it. Yeah, Lighty, another person falling foul of Ascari. He's dropped it on the exit of the corner and he's outside the top 10 now.
Too bad. Yeah, really unfortunate race for Lighty as well. It started good, but a couple of spins. And just to come back at what you said, Adamako, yeah, it's true. He may not be the fastest, but his racecraft is really good. I mean, he's just waiting for other people to make a mistake, not taking too much risk. And his lap times are just like he's on rails.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. We haven't really, I don't want to commentate his cursing now on the last lap of the race, but Adam has driven a sublime race up to P3. But we're going to go on board for Dobby for the rest of the lap. For the last, maybe 8 or 9 laps, it's been plain sailing really for Dobby. He's been on his own after he passed Gary. Vic Mill, a great comeback after his error midway through the race, but in the end, not quite close enough to re-catch the Hassman of Dobby in front, but still a great recovery from Vic Mill. Further in behind, Sway trying to pass Adamako. Gary coming back to Captain Chubbs into the chicane, but Chubbs holds on to P5 for the time being, as Chubbs gets very sideways, well held. But he holds on to P5 for the time being. But yeah, Dobby through the Parabolica for the final time. A great evaluation race. It's been full of action, but in the end, it's Dobby that comes home with the win. He wins the evaluation race here at Italy, closely followed by Vic Mill in 2nd place. Adamako coming up to the line. He's going to cross the line in 3rd. Stays in 3rd. Sways in 4th, ahead of Captain Chubbs. Gary jumps Sway and Chubbs on penalty, back up to 4th place. Here comes Jan in the Alpha Tauri. He's going to pass Chubbs as well. So is Jono. Chubbs falling through the field on time penalties. Yes, Sam crashes across the line. Mashiro jumps up into P7 after running outside the top 10 for the majority of the race after an incident on the first lap. Finishes P7 in the end based on penalties. Great comeback from Mashiro. Santi rounds off the top 10. Lighty crosses the line in 11th. A race I thought could have been for Focky. He's going to cross the line in P12. Nearly passes Lighty on penalties himself as well. Sean and Casper have already finished a lap down. Vlores will be the last man to cross the line. Not the race he would have wanted in this one either, but he's coming round to the Parabolica now. But what a great race this has been.
Yeah, it flew by. Some great overtakes, great battling, especially from P4 down to P8. All the time, action everywhere. Didn't know where to look sometimes. Yeah,
we were missing things left and right. There was so much going on in that race, but yeah, great race from everyone in that one. Great racing throughout the field, all the way down. Yeah, we'll wait for the leaderboard to come up at the end of this session, but it is Dobby who wins the race. Adamako gets driver of the day for most positions gained. Not surprised with that one, gets a podium position in the end after starting P11 in this race. Great recovery from a relatively poor qualifying from Adam. Here we go then.
Sorry for that.
So here is the final finishing order then. So it's Dobby that wins from second on the grid. Everyone got a penalty in that race apart from Flores, I believe, the only one that didn't get a penalty, as well as Sean. But yeah, Dobby wins the race ahead of Vikmil in second, Adamako in third, XL Gary fourth, Sway fifth, Jan sixth, Mishiro seventh, Jono eighth, Captain Chubbs in ninth, Sam T in 10th, Light T in 11th ahead of Focky 12th, Flores 13th. Sean's the last of the finishers a lap down. Sorry, Casper the last of the finishers a lap down in 15th. Sean in 14th as well. And Caesar and Cyrix didn't finish the race, unfortunately. But after that race, who would you give driver of the day to?
Yeah, it has to be Dobby. Really clean race, not too many mistakes. It's always easy to pick the winning guy, but for me it's Dobby.
Yeah, I think Dobby is definitely a contender for driver of the day. I'm going to go for Adamako for driver of the day from my end. Dobby had a brilliant race, but just the racecraft from Adamako to get from 11th on the grid to third. Brilliant stuff from the Alfa Romeo man, and he takes the final step on the podium. He actually nearly took second place away from Vikmil in the end. Only 0.8 of a second separated them after the end of that race, so it was very close in the end. But yeah, what a brilliant race it's been. Thank you very much everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for commenting on the stream as well. Thank you Conti for joining me alongside me for co-coms. Yeah, it's going to be me and Conti for the season for Division 3. So yeah, you've got us for the rest of the season.
You have to do it with us.
Yeah.
And thank you, of course, for leading me through my first Division 3 commentating gig.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a great race. There weren't any boring points in that race, so we can keep commentating throughout the entire thing. But just before the season gets underway, just based on the race we've had, who do you think's looking good for a championship challenge?
Yeah, Adamako, if he can keep consistent like today, he's a good contender. Yeah, based on pace, you got Vikmil, Dobby, but also Chubbs, who had a really great recovery after his crash. So I think it's gonna be there's a lot of contenders in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah, a number of contenders, and that's the case as well. If someone has a bad race, because there are a lot of contenders, you could end up finishing first or end up finishing outside the top 10, just based on how close this field is. But yeah, thank you, as I said earlier, thank you everyone for tuning in, thank you everyone for commenting on the stream. We're going to end the stream here. Yeah, I didn't see the results from the League 2 race that happened at the same time, but I'm sure you can go back on TTTV and rewatch the Division 2 stream if you haven't seen it already. I'm sure that was just as good a race as this one was. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Conti, for joining me, and we will see you again when the season starts. Thank you very much for tuning in, and goodbye.